This one audio recording of a couple who used to kidnap young girls and force them to be sex slaves and have their dogs rape them. That video fucked me up for a while. What is the scariest video on the internet? Askreddit. I've seen a lot of torture and execution videos. I think the worst one I ever saw was a cartel killing of a guy whose face they'd skinned completely. They were stabbing and slashing his face and his tongue repeatedly with a box cutter. I think they eventually beheaded him. Some of the ISIS propaganda can be really bad, too. I watched at least a 100+ gore of vids, but nothing was more brutal than this video. It's beyond brutal. There's this one video I've unfortunately seen, cartel execution, again. They're flaying the guy's chest off and he's begging for them not to do it, and at one point starts crying out to his mother, and that just really got to me. I hate my younger curious self because that shit never leaves your mind. That is probably in the top 3 worst videos I've seen just because of how aware he is of everything that is going on. First time I've seen someone able to have a full-blown conversation with his torturers. 3 guys 1 hammer really fucked me up. I think about that man quite often. They beat a guy in the face with a hammer, stabbed his eyes with a screwdriver. I think they stabbed or pulled his intestines out. Talking about how he was still alive. I can't. I wish I could unwatch it. I never watched stuff like that, but for some reason I did. I watched the whole thing. Now I won't sleep tonight. I was 12-13 at the time and I got really traumatized, just wanted to cry. It was such a disturbing and vile video, it surpasses any of the infamous gore videos. Beyond the gore, it was also a crime out of pure evil, and seeing the man struggle with the tiniest bit of life left in him just completely fucked me up for like 2 weeks. Do not watch this. Greater than 1 man 1 jar, 2G 1C. etc. or nothing compared to this 1 man 1 jar was just idiotic. Of all the things to stick up your ass, why a glass jar? The one that fucked me up the most was seeing a Mexican cop get beheaded in front of his son, then they cut out the still alive son's heart. That video was unbearable. I cannot imagine something worse. I was never able to watch those videos. I am very gore capable and morbidly curious, but that's just too inhumane. Yeah, no thanks. I like to pretend humanity is incapable of such inhumanity of such degrees. Some of those 911 call videos are super disturbing. That one guy in World Trade Center, when he screams before it goes silent, always makes my body run cold. I listened to the 911 call of a lady who owned a pet chimpanzee and it had attacked her friend, literally ripping her face off. It was awful, but I couldn't stop listening to it. Could you imagine the horror of a powerful creature attacking your friend and not being able to stop it? Ruth Price. I'm still not sure if it's real. The internet is divided and no credible source can be found about the crime. But that doesn't mean it isn't disturbing. Funky Town. This was the absolute worst for me. Everyone on WPD said it was the worst they'd seen, so I forced myself to watch the whole thing. If this is the worst, nothing will faze me after I watch this. Yeah, bad idea. It got hard to breathe and I couldn't think straight, so I just went to bed long. The recording from the end of Jonestown. What really got me were how gung-ho some people were to die that day. When you can hear babies crying as their parents poisoned them, and he just admonishes reluctant mothers who don't want their babies murdered by repeating, lay down your life with your child over and over. You couldn't make it up. Cults are something else. I remember reading that a handful of the people refused to kill themselves, and were murdered instead. Really sickening stuff. Yup. And the leader, upon seeing how horrible the poison was, turned to his right-hand man and demanded that he shoot him, so he wouldn't have to suffer through the poison. He was a monster and a coward. Oh yeah, and how Jones told them to give it to the kids first, so you hear the kids crying and moaning in agony and Jones is like, They're only crying because it tastes bitter. No Jones, they're crying because they're fucking dying. The recording is really insane. Hearing the cries of the children slowly go silent. The Ukrainian airshow disaster video, which is somehow on YouTube, is pretty bad. People smeared all over the runway by a crashing jet fighter. There's also a video out there somewhere of a mother calling 911 because her kid was on fire. She thought she had put him out, but he was still burning and screaming for help in the background because the flames were invisible. Goddamn, alcohol fires are just terrifying. You can be completely engulfed in alcohol flames yet you don't actually see anything. YouTube searches of alcohol fires are really interesting. There's this one audio recording of a couple who used to kidnap young girls and force them to be sex slaves and have their dogs rape them. That video fucked me up for a while. Toy box killer, just reading the transcript was enough for me. Can't imagine listening to the audio. What in the actual fuck? That video where this family was driving on the highway and a brick smashed in the front window and hit the mother and the father screamed bloody murder. I've seen a lot of fucked up things since joining Reddit, but nothing I have seen has compared to the video, and there wasn't anything graphic, just a smashed window and the scream of a man who lost his significant other. What's so upsetting about the video is because we all know that's how our heart would scream if something similar happened to a loved one right in front of us. You're seeing emotional turmoil you know you could feel, and just desperately hope never happens. That video is one of the worst in this entire thread, honestly. It's creepy in a way that is unlike anything else here. There is no gore, no jump scares, and you don't even see how exactly the brick killed her. It's literally just a video of a brick coming out of nowhere and killing someone. Something this random could happen to any of us at any time. It's the extensional dread that really gets you. What makes it worse is that you don't even see anything graphic. Just the sheer screams to what just happened is enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Back in late 2012/early 2013, me and some friends on Skype got sent by a guy we didn't know all that well. No explanation. Not the scariest, but we were all 14-15 at the time and it gave us the creeps. This is not just any random video. It was recorded by Marshall Applewhite, leader of Heaven's Gate cult, before 39 of its members committed mass suicide. Yeah, I'm aware now, but the images make it more unsettling. It wasn't a video, but it was a webcomic where after you read to a certain point the page was scripted to force scroll you straight down to a bloody dead face with sound. Gets everyone. Every time. I hate things like this. This happened to me when I was 9/10. The website background was pitch black and then the bloodied face popped up and screamed. Haven't trusted a black web page since I liked optical illusion, and on this website, I think it was opticalillusions.com, and normal pic of a room, and you were supposed to find out what's wrong, and then a scary vampire popped out. Made me fall off my chair. WTH. Once I saw the creepy webcomic from Japan, and parts of it were a gif that had a creepy ghoul woman skittering around on all fours like a spider really fast. I hate jump scares. TBA. It depends on the person, but for me, the knowledge that the deaths of the Twilight Zone movie are out there fills me with dread. I read what happened, and I can never bring myself to watch it. The thing that's really unsettling for me is that the director had sneaked the kids in, without even the parents' knowledge, if I'm not wrong. By law, child actors shouldn't be filmed near explosives, so it's heartbreaking knowing that, if not for a terrible director, the kids would have lived. Yes, John Landis, the director, I believe had been repeatedly told not to film with the children because the scene was too dangerous, but he illegally snuck them on set for the scene. Not only that, but the kids had been illegally hired, too. Of course, nobody was ever found criminally liable. With the online awareness of it, it feels extra strange to have turned on the TV version back in 1999 and instantly switched away from that grotesque "what if America was Nazi Germany?" scene. Like some curse was present in the airway. I saw a video on a gore site of a cartel murder. A teenage boy and his father. Not sure if the father was a rival gang member, a cop, or what. But the cartels have them both tied up. They saw the head off the dad while his teen son watches. Then they proceed to beat the son, cut all the skin off his chest, carve into his chest and pull out a lung so it's hanging out of his body, and then rip his beating heart out and stab through it with the knife. The son is alive and completely aware through all of this. Really fucked up how this world can be and that cartels are so close or even within my country. Cartels don't give a flying fuck. They will kill you in the slowest, most gruesome way and film it and laugh. Those people are straight demons. How someone could go that far? The worst part is that sometimes the enforcers are victims themselves, people that were dragged into hell. Either the one of a scuba diver filming his last minutes of life as he's drowning on camera, or the one of the pure stalker shooting himself. The diver one is what came to mind for me. It haunts me because I'm a diver pursuing a career in diving. That Obey the Walrus video messed with my head. I hate that fucking video so much. I still remember how it goes exactly and what it sounds like. It's 5 in the fucking morning and you just reminded me of that video. Fuck. A couple of years ago during work, we found loads of images and DVD/S with child porn in a storage locker. It is the worst thing I encountered in my life. Edit. It also had hardware with darknet links. That video, blank room soup, of the mascots comes to mind. Soup, or whatever. It never really spooked me because the urban legend was stupid. They killed a dude's wife and starved him to the point where he ate soup made from his dead wife. Like, get real. But then apparently the mascot suits were actually stolen from the original creator. They were like some kid show thing. And no perp was ever found and the suits are still missing. So whoever did make the video did commit at least one crime. It kind of gives legitimacy to the video being something nefarious. I'm sure that a lot of these videos are simply a form of experimental art and the internet just takes the snuff ball and runs with it. Once I received a Discord invite to an anarchy server. Absolutely no rules. So there were people posting horrible things there that left me scarred with memories of the true horrors of the world. Also, videos in the server included hate speech, child porn, videos of animals being tortured, including a dog being skinned alive, necrophilia, people raping animals, execution videos, mutilation, shooting people, child abuse, throwing a kid on the floor and breaking its bones, hanging gay and black people, and the list goes on. Can you report that server? I get the fascination by spooky and horrifying things, but child abuse? That needs to be taken serious. I have reported as many messages as I could, but only on mobile because I can't manage to report on computer. I also don't know if I can report entire servers. What the actual fuck?